Good morning, everyone. Welcome to episode 56 of the Coffee Squad podcast. Today, we're talking about money and how to make it rain with Zeke Kelly. Zeke. Zeke's an investment advisor, representative for almost a Prudential Principal Financial Group. He's a retired Army officer. Great little story. Zeke enlisted following his graduation from UNC Wilmington in 2003, and then he commissioned through OCS in 2010. Zeke deployed numerous times with the 82nd, the 173rd, and I think his final deployment was with 5th SIOP Battalion out of Bragg. He was medically retired in 2018, in which Zeke and I actually retired the same year, medically retired the same year. But it brought new light and perspective for him, which I think is really awesome and why it's great to have him on the show. And that perspective is that desire to help service members make better financial decisions during and after their military transitions. I know he helps with Drew and some other guys that we've had on the show at Fort Bragg with soft service members transitioning out, and lends his time there and many other organizations. So some of the areas that he practiced include financial planning, portfolio management, business planning solutions, and benefits. Zeke is married to his wife, Jessica. They've been married for 14 years. They have 2 children, Liam and Josephine. And Jessica is a business and estate planning attorney, which allows them to kind of do a holistic client engagement together. So it's pretty awesome. Like I said earlier, Zeke is active with numerous veteran organizations, and he's on the board of directors for the Sanford Area Chamber of Commerce, and he is the chair for the Business and Community Advancement Committee. Zeke holds the Fenner Series 7 and Series 66 licenses, and is a multi-state registered for securities and insurance.
Ooh, that was a mouthful.
Boom. I think I did it. Zeke, what I missed, man?
Sounds like more fluff than an OER and COER.
Hey, you're an officer, man.
Yeah.
We all get it. We understand. So Zeke and I met through through Ray, and then I think we hit it off on the golf course. I mean, I shouldn't say we hit it off. Zeke is a liar when it comes to playing golf. We talked on the phone. He said, yeah, I like to play golf. I'm not that good. We were playing out at Pinehurst, and I'm hitting my driver. I'm like, yeah, it's a dog leg right over there. He pulls out his 7-iron. I hit my driver. I totally screw up my drive, and he crushes a 7-iron perfectly right over the trees. Other people were playing with who is this guy? I thought he said he's just okay. I was like, that's what he told me. So hey, if you want to go play golf with Zeke, just know he's going to take your money, make you buy beer, lunch, and dinner at the end of the day. So,
well, thanks for running the hustle for me now. I guess that's
Well, there goes that hustle. There goes his hustle on the pines, right?
Yeah. Well, hey, he's a financial advisor. He has other stuff going in the works. We know that. So, yeah, Zeke, I mean, thanks for joining us. Thanks for all you do, on the veteran side and helping people out. It's always a good time hanging out with Zeke. Zeke, are we going to have a guest appearance today?
I don't know. She's, kind of like everybody else in this crazy world we're in. She's, got to get the kids ready for school. By the way, she's the teacher, mom, lawyer, all that kind of stuff. I only have, just kind of one job I got to deal with right now. So I guess I get off easy. But yeah, she's actually not behind me.
Wow. He promised that she'd be behind you, doing the Step Brothers thing. So cool. All right, Will, what are you drinking, man?
Good morning. Actually, I'm drinking Liquid IV, the tangerine one, which is good. It has my vitamin C and all that good stuff in it. And I'm also drinking Moab, which is the mother of all blends from One Nation Coffee. It is a 70-30 blend of Arabic and Robusta beans, and the Robusta has a little more caffeine in it, so it's got a little extra kick to it this morning. Nice and smooth, dark roast. Yeah, so I'm good to go now.
I thought we said Moab is going to be like the mother of all beers, because we all know you like Will loves his beer and he loves his coffee. And sometimes I think he mixes the two.
It's hard sometimes not to grab a nice coffee and a nice, the can of beer that looks very similar to it. So,
what's up with the Liquid IV? man? Are you
I
going
like
out
it,
like
man.
Wednesday nights and tying one on? Is there something going on out where you live, man? Like on Wednesday nights that we're not aware of?
No, I just enjoy them. You know, they're kind of like my little rehydration thing packet in the morning. I just kind of get going to get me up and running for the day. Between the caffeine and the rehydration, I feel good after, about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So
Yeah, I think there's a product called like heroin that makes you feel that way too.
heroin's kind of a downer, right? So, it's depressant. So
Don't know, man. I haven't used it, but I'm glad you informed everyone.
you've
of what
used
it
some
does.
variation of it.
So
I mean, you've had lots of opioid variations of it, but that's all right. What are you drinking this morning, Zeke?
we caught him like mid drink too. That's awesome.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
I'm in the fancy stuff. The Cafe Bustelo, is on sale at Walmart this week. So
Is that the yellow package?
that's pretty much a driving factor right there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I
like
like it. It's a fine ground.
The Cuban espresso ground type thing, right? Oops. So that's a pretty good one.
Yeah. And that's about
Anything-
the depth of my coffee talk now. It's a fine ground. I think
Anything added
that's the
to it,
limit of
man?
my expertise. No, not yet. I mean, goodness, Jake, it's only 10 a.m.
Hey,
Wait till at least 11:30.
man, I thought you were a pro. So good times, man. This is gonna be fun. This is gonna be fun today.
What are you
I'm
drinking, Jake?
I'm 40 now, man. Things take a lot longer to recover, and
Oh man, you're so old,
body
bud.
just
My gosh,
doesn't
I
handle
don't know how
things
you
the way
do
it
it.
used to.
Yeah.
What are you drinking this morning, Jake?
Man, what I got? I'm trying to look. I
He's
got so many
lost.
beverages. So here we go, man. Will, go ahead.
Keto.
So it's the Keto Nat. A good friend of mine, she kind of reps their brand. She sent me some flavors. The blueberry Acai is what I'm drinking this morning. It's awesome. It's made by Prove It. So look, if there's anyone out there on the keto diet, or as Will likes to say, keto diet, I love this stuff, man. So that's kind of how I kick off my day. And I really don't eat anything till about 1, 2 o'clock sometimes. And then I got, the Celsius energy drink. So, yeah, man, I'm all jacked up, ready to go.
Oh, hopped up on Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
Is there a place for beer and bourbon in a keto diet?
I don't think so. I think people who do it do like, what is it, MGD, or the local, or Michelob Light or Ultra or something. I don't know.
Excuse me.
So yeah, I stopped drinking. So I'm just not a drinker.
You have to start to stop, Jake.
Yeah. So let's see. So
Jake, I got a question for you.
Nope, not answering this week.
All right. What are you doing with your stimulus money? Because I know, with you and all the kids and stuff, I'm sure you're investing it wisely.
Well, what do you mean all my kids, man? Like,
you got 3 boys.
I don't know.
You got 3 boys, right?
Somewhere that I don't know about. My time in 7th group, is it coming back to haunt me? What are we talking about here, man?
The hotel was alive and well when I was in, so I don't know.
So let's see what are we doing with like our stimulus tax return?
And
I'll
Zeke will
put
tell
sod
you
in the backyard.
Smart move.
Yeah, I honestly, it's we paid off some debt, and that's it, man. Like my goal is to be completely debt free, like house everything in the next 5 to 7 years. So anytime I get tax return or any extra income, it just goes to paying off the house.
So my financial plan is to invest in lottery and hope that I can win, and then I will be debt free.
I actually saw an article about that is out of whatever pot of millennials surveyed. It was something about 60% claim that expecting a lottery windfall was kind of their retirement plan.
Jesus.
I like it.
And if that's not funny enough, here's the other thing about it is that a portion of the people that were even surveyed claim they don't even buy lottery tickets.
Yeah.
So I don't
it's
know
just
what
going to magically appear
I would
to
call
them.
that a low percentage plan.
Yeah, I would say that's a crappy poll. Whoever came up with that poll, it was either asking the question wrong or something, because
Oh no.
that just makes, like, the first part was, okay, admirable in a stupid way, I guess. But then the second part of them not actually buying it, like, how does that equate? When you're a pollster asking these questions, I don't know, man.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. I always hope to win the lottery, but I rarely buy a ticket. So I would probably be one of those that say, "Yeah, I want to win the lottery, but I never buy tickets."
So here's a horrible dad moment, kind of. So my son scored a goal in his second soccer game the other day. He's playing. He's 8, just turned 8, under 10. I said, "Hey man, you got to pick a treat up." And I like to play the lotto, like to scratch offs every once in a while. Like I'll go buy like one of the $20-$30 tickets. So, anyways, we go to the gas station, right? And he's like, "All right, bud, pick out a treat." He's like, "I want number 15." I was like, 15? Where? He's like, "The lotto ticket, number 15." Bought it. He won $50. So, like smart choice, buddy. You got lucky that one time. I don't know. Maybe take the stimulus check that you get and go to Tahoe, Vegas, Indian Casino, wherever you live. Put it red or black, man. Whatever you're feeling lucky with. You got a 50-50 shot.
Is that good financial planning, Zeke?
Yeah, I mean, it all depends on what your situation and your starting point is. I think feeling a lot of this stimulus money is going to unfortunately stimulate the places that didn't need stimulated anyway, like the Amazons and the Walmarts and all that kind of stuff. So unfortunately, I feel like there's probably been a significant increase in the purchase of 70-inch televisions. I could probably find a handful of better things to do with it, but to each their own, and that's why it really all comes down to every person's situation is unique. But I mean, Tahoe, that always sounds like a good plan.
I tell you what's not a good plan is playing golf with Zeke and betting on a hole. Just saying, you're not going to win.
Well, it depends on who you are.
I'm going to tell you, I play golf with a lot of people who are good, and Zeke isn't good, man. He's like damn good. So unless he just had a really lucky day that day, but he's pretty much a scratch golfer. You're like, "Oh no, I'm a +3."
+3, Jesus.
Yeah. So
again, I shouldn't play him. Consider I'm like a +30. So
yeah. So for people who are out there, like, what is a financial planner? And I'll tell you, like, I've always heard the term financial planners. I have buddies who work for Goldman Sachs and, Drew and other people. My brother, I think, was a financial planner at one point. What exactly is a financial planner, and what is it that you do?
Yeah, well, so it's kind of funny. You use different terms, and you hear a lot of terms out there. So really, the financial services industry is comprised of a lot of different types of people. Some are out there selling insurance products. Some are helping people invest money in different types of accounts. In the end, I think it's more important to clarify, hey, what are you and who do you need to talk to, and how that person can help you. So you hear the most common term out there is a financial advisor, and it's kind of a general term. Those people could be involved in a lot of different activities of financial services. So financial planners, it's really a great way to just kind of put peace of mind into your down the road kind of plan. So a lot of cool stuff you can do with a real financial plan, and really what an advisor or representative or whoever you're working with in the financial services industry, the plan is kind of like your con op, and everything that you're putting in it, along the way, whether it's investment products, insurance products, those are all just kind of key parts. So yeah, it's really important to just know kind of the different terms out there and who the providers and the service providers are.
I got a question. We got lots of questions, honestly, but one that I always think of is like, oh, I need to have $100,000 to invest. I need to make a certain amount, in order to have a financial planner. What do you say to people who kind of have my mentality?
Yeah, no, I hear that a lot, and again, there's different segments of the industry that that maybe there is a threshold. Some advisors or planners, do have a maybe a $250,000 kind of minimum asset level. But at the end of the day, it's I kind of the thing that I'll probably repeat over and over again is every situation is unique, and there is a professional and a service provider for just about everybody's situation out there. Some folks make a complete a business niche out of focusing on the less than 100,000, because obviously there's a void there. So it's really not, again, it's not about just investing the money. It's being able to look at a whole thing, someone's situation. It's like anything else in life. You don't want me to just look at one aspect of you. It's, hey man, you got to understand the full picture of me before you can start making recommendations. So short answer is absolutely yes. Anyone, whether you're making $20,000 a year or a cool million per year, there's definitely different niches that serve you appropriately. And I think it's like anything else. You just got to find the right person, the right fit. It's all about a relationship.
Well, I don't know. Point. Okay, that's a good point, Zeke. How do you find the right fit? How can you tell if that planner is the right one for you or the right fit for you, or even legit? I'm sure it's just like any other industry where you have some that aren't as out for your best interest as other ones are.
Yeah, well, man, you bring up a good point, and it's a good point because unfortunately it's a common thing, and just like a lot of industries and professional services, there's definitely some shady people out there and some bad apples that kind of make it tough for the rest of the people to do things right. But really, I'd just say instinct goes a long way. Kind of just trust yourself and treat it like any other interaction. Just because you start putting the whole the intimacy of finances and all that personal kind of taboo stuff that people a lot of times people just like to ignore it and hope it figures itself out. But really just treat it like any other kind of relationship in life. Trust yourself, trust your instincts. I always ask people, I bring a lot of personal examples with me when I sit down with people to show folks, hey, if I'm recommending, certain actions, I'd be like, hey, here's what I do. This is what, if you want to see what a long-term plan looks like, here's what I do. Here's some things that I like, to invest in. Here's why my family is protected, with these, kind of insurance items, all that kind of stuff. And it just goes a long way to build credibility so people don't think you're just, pitching them something that, you're not living by. And then really what I've seen the most too is a lot of folks like to get in there, they might have a pitch and it's, hold on, let me get through my pitch first before I start listening to your needs. And really that's the total opposite way. It's, everybody goes in with a plan, but if you're not listening first and hearing what my potential client's concerns are first, then, you're going at it all wrong. So if that's how, an advisor that you've talked to in the past, or I think it's a good way to kind of vet, people. Treat it like an interview. You don't owe anybody anything right off the bat. Just about everybody's going to give you a free consultation up front. So, treat it like an interview process. Find the one that works for you.
As you're going through that process of interviewing and talking, we said earlier that you have your Series 7 and Series 66. Is that kind of like something that, as someone is looking for that financial planner, and I guess, people who listen to the podcast hear me say this phrase all the time, but doing their due diligence, are those two certificates or licenses that they need to look for, that every financial planner, it's kind of like a must have, like a starting base?
I would kind of look at it as, because really you're kind of putting more legwork, more effort into yourself by having to do all this background digging. in reality, I think it's more important to, just sit down. If the relationship feels good, it's a trust-based thing. So, it's a people business first, even though there's all the technical qualifications and everything that you're going to talk about. I personally think that it's, you got to be comfortable with the personal relationship first. And that communication, it's going to be more important than, I think, degrees and designations. But to a certain extent, somebody's licensing and qualifications does dictate, what they can do and how they can provide services for you. And really, one of the most important things that it really dictates is how the advisor is compensated. And that's one thing, I bring that up a lot, for two reasons. One, it kind of takes the edge off, because a lot of times that's what people are wondering anyway. Like, okay, obviously you don't do this for free, so how do you get paid? I think that's a great question for people to go into a conversation with, is right off the bat, hey, so-and-so, tell me how you're compensated, from whatever service you provide me. And that goes a long way to, really figure out what's driving that advisor, what are their motives. A lot of some of the big buzzwords you see on a lot of the commercials, with all the big investment firms and financial services companies, is my advisor a fiduciary? And that is important. That kind of goes along with some of the licensing aspect. And really, it's, are you being treated is he being compensated, on a transactional basis versus, just by service, time, flat fee. In the end, again, every situation is unique. There's not a right or wrong answer. It's just kind of understanding is what's driving that advisor's, recommendations, that he's going to provide for you.
So can you kind of go into that just a little bit, for, like, I guess, how are the ways that they're compensated?
Yeah, because I have know nothing about financial planner, so
yeah. So really, there's kind of break it down into two main groups. You have kind of commission based, and then you have fee based. All right, commission based. That's kind of, for the longest time, everything was done on a transactional and commission basis. Even leading up to the past 10, 15 years, things have changed so much in the personal investment world. Everybody who has access to a computer now or phone, you can manage your own retirement. You're investing, for absolutely free. And you see it all the time in the commercials. No fees, no commissions, 0 transaction fees. And that's great. And that's, because before you had the middleman in there, and that was your traditional kind of stockbroker. Because, before all this technology and all these platforms existed, the average person, you didn't have the ability to trade a single share of stock. You had to go through a broker, just like a broker in any other business. They're just kind of a middleman, facilitating a transaction. So that's kind of the first side of business. And, and that person was compensated for making the transaction happen. And that still exists today. Commission-based compensation. Usually you see that in accounts with kind of lower initial values, because it's you want to keep the trading to a minimum, so that way the client's not getting hit with a lot of fees. But it doesn't mean that it's bad. The commission-based account serves a purpose for the right person. And advisors are also compensated on a commission basis for different types of products that they might offer, through their respective companies, whether it's insurance products, annuities, things like that. So that's kind of the one side. Hey, I recommend a product. I get a piece of it by facilitating the transaction.
Is that
the other side,
performance-based as well on the commission side?
In the whole no, it's really not, man. It's just, hey, I did this transaction. I sold this product. There's a certain commission associated with it, or a transaction fee associated with it. So it's not really kind of a merit-based thing on the advisor. It's kind of yes or no. It's binary. Hey, gotcha. I made the transaction. That's commission-based. So right off the bat, you can kind of see some of the areas where there might be potential conflicts of interest. From an advisor, if I know that, that somebody's being compensated by making transactions or trades, then I want to make sure that, if my account is being traded excessively, it needs to be for the right reason, and not just the fact that, hey, are there trades being made just to generate commissions? So that's where the biggest conflict of interest comes in on the commission-based side. Really what the industry is really moving towards is a fee-based type of compensation. And that's where you have, a fiduciary advisor. You're serving in, really the fiduciary exists in a lot of different industries. It's, you have an obligation to to serve the client's needs well above anything, that represents your best interest. And what that means on the compensation side is that, typically when it comes to managing investments and portfolios, the advisor is compensated as a percentage of the value of the portfolio. So right off the bat, now the advisor has a vested interest to grow that money and do things that are because if I can take $100,000 account, turn it into $1 million, hey, my 1% of, let's not get into real serious math right now, but I do know that 1% of $1 million is a lot better than 1% of 100,000. So so obviously right off the bat, that's incentive there. And what's nice is when you get into those types of accounts, then all the transactional stuff is kind of eliminated. So that you tip a little bit more of a not complex, but kind of next level type of portfolio. And those are the people that expect, hey, I'm looking to be in a managed fee-based account because I expect my advisor to be actively managing and trading it. And knowing that you're not paying for those transactions, kind of makes you feel that it's being managed for the right reasons and not just to generate trades.
That makes sense. So
those are the two main areas. And then in that fee-based side, that also includes things like, hey, I'm providing a financial plan to a client for a fee, whether he's, he might not do any other business with me, but my job is to, give a complete, impartial assessment and put together a plan for them. And they can take that plan, which either, physical, book, or a lot of the software we use now, really cool stuff. You have client access portals, and it's kind of like a living, breathing thing. But the bottom line is they can take that plan and take it to, they might already have an investment advisor somewhere else, but they might just come to you for this service, and it's kind of plug and play. They say, hey, this is a great plan. I really like the way this looks. I'm going to take this to my advisor over at Goldman, JP Morgan, or any one of those guys, and they'll just kind of insert my portfolio allocation into this plan. There's a lot of cool stuff out there, and it's really just it's really not limited to working with an advisor is not limited to, hey, can you buy some stocks for me?
No, I would definitely agree with that, and I was kind of blown away the first time, and it's kind of nerve-wracking too. I think meeting with one, it's kind of like I always say, lifting up the skirt, right, and showing the goods, because you're opening up your bank account, and you're opening up your whole life to them if you're going to do it properly, right? You're gonna expose you and your family's financial situation, and how you live, and everything. That I think money is tied to pretty much everything you do as an adult. What you can afford to do, what you can't afford to do, jobs, life insurance policies, everything. And I think meeting with a financial advisor really opened my eyes up of things I was doing okay with, and spending habits that I absolutely suck with, that my wife tells me about all the time. And believe it or not, I'm the spender, she's not. But there's those life insurance policies. I just kept the one from the military. When I retired, I switched over to whatever it's called. I think I had like AFMA or Navy Mutual, one of the two, because they covered me while I was still in, and it's still good till I'm 60 years old. And then they looked at it and said, hey man, like you're making X amount of dollars. For your family to sustain and grow, if something were to happen to you, you need to increase that by another $400,000 or $500,000. And if we have any military people out there that are listening that haven't retired yet, I think a great point of view that's been talked about. And Zeke, I know you and I have talked about this, is look, before you do that VA claim, go and get your life insurance policy, because the VA, if you're going to do your claim, a lot of scary stuff, that we've kind of hidden behind the scenes, aches, pains, whatever it is going to come out. And good luck finding a policy. You'll probably find one, but you're going to pay through the roof for it.
All those pre-existing conditions that kind of catch up to you.
So
yeah, man, it's that's great advice, Jake. And that's one thing if I could harp on, especially for the military community, it's, man, I don't know how many times I've said this over the last, 2 years, is, man, if only I'd have known, just like, 6 months earlier, because we talked, I got medically retired. I was, almost 17 years in the military. So obviously, that's usually not anybody's career track, is, let's do 17 years in the Army and then pop smoke, So it was, obviously it was an unexpected situation, and that unexpected situation put me in that position you're talking about, where it's a very pretty penny, because of those conditions now. So absolutely, man, it's some of the best advice I could give anybody. Don't do a single VA physical until you at least talk to somebody. And I'm not saying that the DoD provides a lot of good services through the transition programs. But it's just like anything else. It's worth getting a couple different perspectives, because the government, not saying they don't have your best interests at heart, but hey, they're like a business too. They're only offering you the options that they have contracts with. So I certainly don't think it's inappropriate to recommend that people go and shop the private market. So
I think another thing too is, I remember in basic training, they talk a little bit about money, right? That's usually for like the 18-year-olds. I came in at 26. I was a lot older. But you still see, if you go to Fayetteville, North Carolina, where Fort Bragg is, or Fort Benning, Georgia, or any of the major military bases around,
Jacksonville.
Yeah, it's like all these car lots, right?
Mm-hmm.
And look, when the Global War on Terror was super hot and heavy, right? You saw these privates coming back, Brian, the new Camaro, the new Mustang.
Oh man,
living in the barracks, it's like, hey, bud. And look, all my friends know me, man. I get a new car quite often, but it's these kids are just wrapped up in these car payments, and then that drives different financial and professional decision making because they're weighted down by debt.
Yep.
And so I think what you, Drew, and these other guys are doing, and trying to get more into the military and helping these young kids, and even people getting out too, of like, hey, let's talk about this. I had a great coworker who he buys houses, so he works. He has his military retirement, he has his defense contract income coming in. And he's always said, hey man, I'd rather drive a hoopty now. So when I'm 75, 60, 75, I can drive a nice car and enjoy life in my twilight years. So I think that instant gratification with the younger society, you wonder what, the second and third order of effects are going to be down the road. And look, I'm just as guilty as they are sometimes. So I'd be a hypocrite here.
Oh yeah. Man, I agree. We all make impulsive decisions, and like I'm guilty of being the spender in my family too. But I just, it's no secret that I think it's become its own almost its own epidemic in society. The buy now and take care of our immediate gratification, and it'll figure itself out down the road. And it's just a thought that you can, so easy to change that behavior, and it just takes a little bit of knowledge. I think whether you're in a military community, or not, there just needs to be more education from a younger age. And it's personal, for most people, first personal finance classes might be in college. That's just ridiculous. I mean, these are decisions that shape our lives for, we talk about college debt. Goodness, the numbers there are astronomical, and we're making 18-year-old kids sign their name on promissory notes for student loans. They're going to haunt them for 30 years.
Yeah.
You know, maybe we should call me crazy, but maybe we should educate them before they take on the biggest thing that's going to saddle them with stress and debt for the next 30 years.
Well, I know when I was in high school, we had like a personal finance class, and it taught us how to like balance our checkbooks, taught us about credit cards, and even kind of touched on the stock market, stuff like that. So that was pretty good for me. I didn't listen to it because, you know, young, dumb, and, you know, whatever. But I think, and nowadays they don't have any of those classes in high school, at least not around where I'm at. I don't know about where you guys are at, but they don't have it here at all. And I think so it's left up to the parents to kind of help walk them through those decisions. But
yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. I mean, my parents always said save, 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 right? They never going to buy my first car. They always said 50%, you know, they'd go and have. I always worked. I always was mowing lawns, you know, doing something, you know, whether it's playing craps in 6th grade on the
it's not really
playground. I mean, do you see a gambling problem here going on right now? But I was always working and bringing in money, but I never saved. I never learned the value of saving. And I think that's an important value to teach children. And my parents, you know, they tried, but they also gave me, hey, you know, free will too. You know, I wanted to buy skateboard shooters or the latest Jordans or, you know, some sports equipment, you know. So I think the value of saving and teaching, like Will said, you know, in the home, it kind of starts there with your kids. And if you can teach them like, hey, to put off that instant gratification of buying the new video game or drone or whatever it is that they want, you know, but to save and then earn it, you know, later. I think that's an important lesson that, you know, my parents tried to teach me. I don't think I listened. I know I didn't listen very well. And that's kind of affected my decision too. And then I think the military, when you go to combat, right, you're like, well, shit, I don't know if I'm going to make it. So I might as well spend it now because I don't know, you know.
Can't take it with you.
And I think that for me has been the biggest hurdle to get over of, hey, I got a family now. I need a plan for my future because guess what? I made it past 40. You know, I never expected to live this long. So I better plan. You know, my body feels that way. But my bank account doesn't have to feel that way, you know, my planning. So I think
I've said that over and over.
Is huge.
Yeah, the whole man, I made it to 40. Holy crap, now what? I mean, I had that feeling of being downrange. I'm like, well, yep, tomorrow, I don't really have a tomorrow on the horizon. So and then you're fast forward and then you're like, well, now what? But the savings, man, where I would advice I would give there is just, man, early and often, because the one thing, you know, I always like the quote. It was Albert Einstein. You know, I don't know much about him. Pretty smart dude apparently, but financially, he made a comment about, you know, compound interest being the 8th wonder of the world, and it really is, man. It's just the one thing that you can't get back is time, and it's, you know, starting now is better than never, but starting early is great. And that's what, you know, you talked about kid, you know, growing up, and savings versus investing. And it's like, really, what is the difference? To me, it's, you know, I don't know if this is a textbook answer, but, you know, saving money, you're kind of just stashing it somewhere. You're preserving it, you know, and it grows because you're adding to it, but not because it's working for you. And I think the difference is, you know, when you talk about investing, it automatically makes people feel a little bit nervous because it puts on this layer of, you know, there's like this shroud of, you know, this expertise. Because again, for the longest time, that's what brokers wanted you to think, is that, hey, man, this isn't for everyday people. You need me to, you know, facilitate transactions and trades for you. But it's so easy nowadays. And really, investing, and what I would try to encourage people or influence people is that don't let it be a scary word. There's somewhere on the spectrum for every investor out there. And that means, you know, hey, maybe I'm just looking for a little bit better return than I'm getting in my savings account. You know, that's earning me this awesome, you know, 0.0001%, you know, interest rate. There, you know, there's a place for you on that investing, you know, risk spectrum, you know, and it's don't get I guess don't get intimidated by the word investing, because hey, if all we're looking to do is grow your money a little bit better than a bank account, hey, I can help you figure out what's your comfort level, and that's again where I think it's worth working with someone in the in that profession to help you feel comfortable, because if you can't, everybody wants great returns, but if you can't sleep at night, it's not worth the headache. So, and there's just so many ways to provide that, even for kids. We don't give our kids allowance, but give them incentives to, hey, once they they do certain things, they earn money. Both my kids are little hustlers too. They go door to door. My son was in a business fair, and he's businessman doing art, and he does like stop motion animation. He's got a YouTube channel and everything. But hey, man, he brings in cash, and best thing I can do is incentivize him to do something smart with it. And I do that by kind of like a company 401k plan. Like, hey, dude, if you want to put your money, you want me to invest your money? They each have accounts. Hey, I'll match it. Trying to incentivize good behavior or smart behavior.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So as we come up, like it's tax season right now.
His portfolio's done better than my personal hobby one. So
that's awesome. That's really awesome. I like that. I might. I'll talk to you after the show and probably set something up for my kids. I like that idea. I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
Better than just sitting in a bank account. Like my family, birthdays are a big deal, and so they always ask, "Hey, toys and stuff." I'm like, "Man, please don't give them another toy." And I know, for my older siblings who had kids, like I used to buy the loudest, most annoying toys just to get back at them, mainly, and they want to do the same thing. It's really like if you just send money, I just put the money in a bank account, but listening to you talk, I'm like. And he's right. It's not doing anything. Let's put it into something. So you and I are going to have a little chat this week and set something up. So that's great advice.
Yeah, what's kind of cool, because a lot of people, grandparents, parents, aunts, uncles, everybody, you feel like if there was like a big bucket to collect all the money that's just been wasted on junk just because people feel like they have to reciprocate with a gift. I mean, it's just crazy. So what could you do better with that? And one type of account where, depending on what people's, main priorities are, because saving money for college for kids is, it's huge with, the cost of tuition is just freaking outrageous. But there's specific investment accounts designed. Yeah. Hey man, and I'm all about that too. And I think it's important to recognize that
yep.
Hey, I've actually recommended to people, maybe you should look at this because I know people that have started very successful, attorney practices, medical practices, all coming out of, good old Uncle Sam. And that's like even my situation. I mean, I didn't, I had my degree before I went in, but as I was exiting, the DOD took care of me, man. I was prepared to walk into this business with every license and certification because they took care of it for me while I was going through my. So yeah, it's always a good.
I think the military is a great option,
but there are college savings accounts. Yeah, the college savings accounts, and the only thing I'll say about why they have some really cool designs where you've seen it. It's kind of like on different savings accounts and banks where they'll kind of round up your purchase of the the pennies or a couple cents. They've got so a college 529. That's just the standard nomenclature for a college savings account. Really, it's just an investment account that has some tax preferential treatment as long as you're using it for college purposes. And it's not even they've expanded that focus a lot, so it's really educational purposes. The bottom line, if that's a priority for people, saving money for college, then absolutely talk to somebody. And really, the point is that a lot of them have cool features where you can do like gifting types of things. So that way, grandma and grandpa, they're not throwing $100 away on. I mean, they're still going to do it anyway because that's what grandmas and grandpas do. But at least they have another choice too, where it's, hey, I'm making $100 contribution this month to their college savings, and you can tie it to bank accounts. You can round up purchases and dump them in there. So it's all those pennies make dollars, man.
Yeah.
As we start to wrap this up, the Will kind of mentioned tax season here earlier in the show is like it is April Fool's. I was trying to think of it like a cool little thing to do on the show, but I'm not that smart, so or clever. Couldn't think of something. But as we get ready for tax season, I know you're not a tax advisor, but how does someone prepare, like financially prepare for tax season? And then on top of that, like the unknowns, right? Like the AC going out if you own a home, or a roof repair, or those unexpected, what I call like emergency things. We always know tax season's coming up, so if you kind of talk about that little planning thing, and then mistakes to avoid, or some, I guess, scams or anything that you've seen in the financial side out there. I threw a lot at you.
Yeah, man, definitely. Okay, tax season. So how I prepare for tax season is usually I print out all the W whatever forms. I pour a glass of bourbon, and then my wife does the taxes. So that's how I prepare.
I like it. I like it.
What kind of bourbon are you drinking?
There's probably a lot more. We won't go into that because you'll probably laugh at my palate for bourbon is probably as experienced as it is for coffee, but I still like it nonetheless. But yeah, man, tax season. So for one, just like in my industry, I always recommend. It depends on where you are. If you're comfortable doing your taxes, there's a lot of free resources available. As life and income changes, maybe you get to a certain point and you need to seek seek professional help. But especially with all the things that have come about in the last year, especially with business owners. I mean, you've had the CARES Act, you've had all these other things, COVID related. I think it is important to make sure you understand what the tax implications are, and working with a good financial advisor and an accountant. Those are some of my favorite relationships when I'm working with a client, where they're very open, and I've actually talked to people's accountants, and it just makes it a great kind of team effort when you get to tie all that together. But it really is just being kind of educated on what are the implications of what I've done this year with my money. One thing I always point out is I think people should really take a look at their withholdings with whatever job they're in. While maybe it's nice to get back, a big refund every year, if you're given that, if you're getting that big refund back, then maybe you're withholding too much money from your paycheck. And if that's, for some people, they just like that because it's forced savings essentially. But at the same time, I can figure out, 100 things that I'd rather do with my money than, give it to the government for a free loan. So, instead of
making money off of it, not you.
Yeah, instead of excessive withholding, you can do that. You can create that yourself. Give yourself an even bigger tax return. Put it in take $100 out of your paycheck. Hey, that's your withholding. Put it somewhere. Just be deliberate with your money, because I think, again, no matter how well off you are, again, whether you're making $10,000 a year, $100,000 a year, everything starts with the basics. You got to have a budget. You got to have a plan. So put the money somewhere, and don't give it to the government for free. So, but when you do get that tax refund, again, there's a lot of great things you can do with it. I've seen a lot of people end up with $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 get back from the government. And it's kind of funny because that $6,000 that kind of rings a bell in my head is that happens to be the maximum contribution for an IRA right now for people under 50 years old. So hey man, why not pay yourself first, and not with a new flat screen or whatever set of rims, I guess. But go ahead and made me think about that when you're talking about all the GWAT cars, man. And then
hey, you can finance them in Fayetteville. Just
you can
putting that out
3
there.
months later, you'd see them in the lemon lot because they can't even afford to put gas in them anymore.
Yep.
They're getting their rims repo. That's awesome.
But yeah, I mean, there's just so many smart things you can do with a chunk of money, to let it grow for future decisions. And not everything has to be for down the road when you're retired. I mean, again, just like there's different investment accounts for different types of people, it's also time horizon based. There's different type of investment accounts for different purposes. You know, the 1 to 3 year plan, the need a down payment for my house, you know, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Zeke, great advice. Great talking to you today. I know we normally talk about security, but I think, you know, when we talk about money, there is that financial security, you know, that plays into this. So
not only security of finances, but security of mind. When you know you have that security, you know that you don't have to worry about money. You know, that's a huge relief off of your mindset. You know, at least it is for me.
There's an old saying that money doesn't buy you happiness, but it gives you options.
Well, maybe one day it will be a huge relief off my mind. I don't know.
I would say to you know, give you the security piece in there real quick is that, you know, with everything that's happened in the last year, all the free money out there, you know, I'd say just enhance your awareness, because, you know, people know of all the programs and the free money pots that are going around, stimulus checks. So all it's done with the scammers is, you know, just kind of increase their effort. You know, people are going out trying to scam, you know, folks out of the, you know, business loans and PPP money and all this extra stuff. So it's just like anything else. Keep your guard up, and you know, if it sounds too good to be true, it's obviously probably is. And that goes the same with, you know, unrealistic investment returns drive people to make really bad decisions, and all the nonsense with the GameStop fiasco and the, you know, wherever cryptocurrency is. I'm not opposed to it. I just think there's a lot of it smells like the late 90s, where it's, you know, every little .com that came out, you know, everybody thought was going to the moon. So kind of keep your guard up about stuff like that, and don't listen to your friends who are saying, "Oh, I guarantee you're going to make 100% returns on this." Yeah, ain't happening.
Yeah. Zeke, where can people find you? Where can our listeners and viewers find you at? Get in contact with you if they want some more advice and some of your services.
Well, as long as you keep inviting me, hopefully they can find me down at Pinehurst.
And you know you're welcome anytime. We're just now I know what to expect from you. You know, I know since you played the first time.
There's something about
tried.
There's just something about walking out of that parking lot and seeing that view.
Yeah. So
no,
cool.
man, we're so I'm physically located in Sanford. Just like a lot of people now. I mean, I do equal amount of business, both remote and in person. I prefer the in person, kind of old school, but especially it's, you know, it's an intimate business. I think a face to face kind of thing is important in building trust. But yeah, there's not too many Zeke Kellys out there. So Google me, you'll see where I'm located. And, you know, we're here in Sanford, and like you said earlier, I've got my wife is a critical business kind of partner. She fills in another critical need, you know, on the estate planning side, which really does tie in with financial planning.
Yeah, I want to have her on too and talk about her, you know, lawyers and the same thing. You know, how do you know you're getting the right lawyer for what you need? So, again, Zeke Kelly, Principal Financial Group. Love having you on. Love what you do, all the give back and the great advice today. Thank you.
Hey, thanks, guys. I enjoyed it.
Thanks, Zeke. Appreciate everything.
All right.
Absolutely.
Have a good one, everyone.